When we engage in the arts, we show we are active and engaged learners, risk takers, and ourselves.
ART stands for Arts Rich Together, and this is a group of stakeholders across South Australia who are interested in improving the experience of children in schools and preschools via the arts.
When we engage in the arts, we transfer story and knowledge through playful and engaging means. When we engage in the arts, we take risks and have fun.
ART has been able to partner with DECD, who gave us the funds to bring Katie and Lara over from Austin to work with these 30 fantastic practitioners, teachers, artists, pre-service teachers, to get them all in the room to play hard for 3 days and to build a common understanding of a really, really dynamic practice.
So we're learning from each other in the sense of why do you make the work in such a way? What are the processes that you go through to make that work? Oh, so when you're in the classroom, what are the priorities that you need in your classroom to be able to engage young people in that activity as well?
We brought all these people together because of the reputation of the University of Texas in doing this particular work, which is called drama-based instruction.
Drama-based instruction is a technique that we've been using for about 10 years across the U.S. It has been a coming together of theater artists and educators who want to improve the culture of learning in the classroom. It uses active and dramatic strategies to really focus on this quality of dialogic sense-making. So this terrific thing that happens when young people are in the room together making authentic connections to their own life with the curriculum.
I think drama-based instruction is also an amazing way for teachers to start thinking about how to change their classroom culture to be more inclusive, hearing everyone's voice, really honoring where people are coming from, honoring students as amazing people who have their own voices and are really bringing them into the space and sharing them and connecting with their education.
The strategies that we've been given are just going to help engage and excite students to want to learn, and that's what my priority is I want them to want to learn because I have a big desire for learning. So I think I kind of want to put that into my children or students. I really want them to have that desire too, and I think using DBI is, it's going to do that.
I mean, drama-based instruction works just with better practices in education. It really thinks about how do we hook students in or create a need to know. So there's a lot around inquiry. It might be a tool you use at the beginning of a lesson to kinesthetically put them in their body and engage them in the learning, or to make a meaningful connection to their own experience so that they have an investment in learning on the topic. Sometimes drama-based instruction is used during a lesson to really concretize something that's abstract.
For me, this has been invaluable because it's really given a depth to what I do, and now I can really kind of find hooks to link it into other areas of the curriculum that I haven't really been doing as yet.
So we might use this work to teach something in the curriculum, like a number line, for example. If students are struggling to understand what that looks like, we might put it on our body and try to become the numbers in the number line and think about the relationship of those numbers. Or we might take a complicated moment in history and try to stage it in a non-linguistic representation with our bodies, and then interpret the meaning of that image and talk about the multiple perspectives within it. We might use it to extend learning. So we are thinking about a concept in science, the ethics of nuclear power, for example. And how do we take that and make that authentic to students' living and learning experiences by placing us in as a town who's trying to decide they're very poor, they need energy sources, and they're trying to decide whether they want to build a nuclear power plant or not, and what are the different ethical questions that come up for a community making that decision. So we're enrolled thinking about that together. But I think the key part of this work, more than anything else, is the reflection. So we go through this work together, and then we make that thinking visible afterwards. We talk about what we did and why, how it felt. We're thinking about these spaces of academic, affective, and aesthetic learning that happens in the practice. And we're trying to make these larger connections to the human condition, to the relevant reasons of how we might apply that same thinking strategy into another context, and why we're doing this, really making thinking and meaning relevant.
I think with drama-based instruction, you're also building a community of learners through students that are up and active and engaging with one another and collaborating in spaces where they all have their voices heard. And that might be one of the ways in which it looks different from some of the ways where we're being lectured at, right? And we raise our hands and we spout some information back to an instructor that is expecting the exact right answer. In these different ways that DBI is working, it asks students to bring themselves into their learning.
Feeling really empowered actually to connect this to the curriculum and getting millions of excellent lesson ideas from all the other participants as well as from Katie and Lara.
Our role at Carclew is to engage children and young adults in arts experiences. So being convener of the ART group is quite a clear synchronicity for me in the work that we're trying to achieve with Carclew.
The stakeholders of the ART group have come together because we're very interested in what has been happening in Texas, in the city of Austin, which is Adelaide's sister city, because they've been doing some very innovative work in bringing people from across the city together to actually work together and look at where the strengths are, where the gaps are, and how things could be improved. And we're looking at that in relation to the South Australian context and how we might use that to improve creative learning experiences for children through the arts in South Australian schools and preschools.
We've been using drama-based instruction for 10 years. It is an initiative that has come out of the Drama for Schools program at the University of Texas at Austin. It is a partnership between our College of Fine Arts and our College of Education, so both educational domains are being brought together in this work. And we, from the university, create long-term partnerships with school and school districts interested in changing the learning culture of the classroom through the arts. And the big thing we're involved in right at this immediate moment is a 10-year strategic plan in the city of Austin, where we've brought stakeholders together from the city, from the school district, from the philanthropy community, and 40 local arts organizations and higher education to think about what is the potential of creative learning with young people in the schools. So we've all come together, we've done a lot of strategic planning, and now we are implementing a major program. The school district's giving $1 million a year. We're all fundraising around it, and I think this past year we trained,
More than 1,000 teachers in 2 days.
Yeah. So we have vertical teams that come on, so an elementary or a primary campus through a secondary campus, middle school and high school all come together to train. And we have 3 vertical teams working right now, which is, I think, something like 23 campuses. And we're going to have all 180 campuses working by the end of 10 years. And every teacher comes, every teacher tries, every teacher plays, and every teacher applies the work across their curriculum.
And it will also be multi-arts, so it will look at drama and theater, at dance, at visual art, and at music throughout the 10-year stretch of time.
We're trying to bring people together who want to improve things for young people in schools and preschools. And we're particularly interested in people who have influence in government, in the council, in the arts companies already existing and what they're doing, in the Department of Education, the researchers in universities, so that we all work together to improve the offering for the arts for young people. We're interested particularly on how the arts can support young people's engagement across the curriculum in all subject areas in schools and preschools.
It's that whole encompassing thing about what makes a strong community and how can we further young people's understanding of their role in their world, and we want to do it through theatre-based and integrated curriculum, so therefore we're working with the department and the organisations as well. And the universities is part of that, because then embedding in that process is there. How do we actually determine what we're doing has value, and where can we take it further? And you need a research component to be able to do that process.
For an artist educator, it's been great to spend more time with full-time educators and discuss how we work and where that crosses over and what we can share.
And the other thing that everybody's learnt too is that sense of reflecting on what you do.
To have a setting like this where you actually are open to trying stuff out and getting critical feedback from other practitioners, other artists, teachers who are doing it full time is really gives you an opportunity to examine your practice and make it better, which is really exciting. And you don't get that opportunity very often. You don't get that time to deconstruct, and really look at what you do and how you can perhaps do things differently.
We want to broaden this process out, so we are hoping to develop this work with perhaps a couple of model schools. We'd like to have 2 or 3 schools involve some pilot schools so that we can do some teacher training within that process, train the trainer, work with schools and create a model of how you can use art forms across the learning areas so that it becomes a stronger and deeper learning experience for the students and also for the teachers. It's a very new concept to bring these different elements together, particularly the elements of bringing in the partnership with the council, partnership with arts organisations and partnerships with educators. So it's trialling something out that hasn't been done before in South Australia, but it's the way we need to go in the future in terms of how do you achieve great things unless you do it in relationships and through partnerships.
One impact the DBI can have on the world is how we train the practice itself. We believe deeply that this practice needs to be learned by doing, so you won't go back and do it unless you've really felt it in your own body, because a lot of teachers have never done teaching in and through the arts before, so it feels scary to them. And we've actually had folks who left saying, I came in here, I didn't know what I was expecting, this was really new to me, but I had so much fun. The last thing someone said to me was, these 3 days flew by. And that's what education should feel like. It should have an ease and a freedom, and it should feel inspiring. And I think one of the biggest impacts about the work is just that space of community, that it brings you together, it allows you to kind of be your best free self, to make those authentic connections, but to really share and understand someone else's perspective. I mean, one of the great things I'd say about these last 3 days was getting this community together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
bringing together the pre-service teachers, the teaching artists, and the teachers has been amazing to see the combination of ideas they have, the way that they are so willing to communicate and collaborate and trust one another, and the different ways that they're teaching one another was extremely exciting to see. And then that's how you see the change in the rest of the world, right? They go out to all of their spaces and they really start to spark change, right? How can young people learn in these ways that they're so motivated, they want to be there, they want to connect with their teachers, they want to connect with their peers, they're building a community of learners in these spaces, as opposed to being lectured at and having to just answer rote questions and taking tests, right? How can we change that culture to a culture of dialogue and understanding and multiple perspective taking?
If you have an environment where children can play, question, experiment, explore, create things, create scenarios, experience different opportunities. And if that's a practice across the state, in 20 years' time, we can have a state that's outstanding because those things are the underpinning of innovation.